What's up, guys? Welcome to the Be Bold podcast. It's Javier Paredes here, your host. I'm here with Matthew Lopez, and we are going to be jamming out today, this evening, and talking about digital media and real estate. One of the reasons why I created this podcast was for people who are new into real estate, or, maybe they have a few years under their belts, or maybe they've been doing this a very long time. Me personally, I've been in the real estate game almost 10 years, and I'm still learning on a day-to-day basis. It's amazing how little I know. And that's one of the things I just realized as how little I know. And I want to emphasize that, because if you're not learning, you're not earning. And so that's the most important thing. And so we're going to be jamming about, rental properties and how to acquire properties and, digital marketing and all kinds of fun stuff. And so we want you guys to tune in with us today and hear all the great gems that we have to share with you. So Matthew is my digital marketing. He actually is a coach in the digital marketing space. He has coached hundreds and hundreds of clients at a very, very high level. He has worked with top producers in the digital marketing industry and has coached their students. And he has endless amounts of knowledge in the digital marketing arena. And it blows my mind, because every time I talk to him, he's got like a new app or like a new website. And it's like so mind boggling, because I'm so focused on real estate. And I just realized, seeing how much stuff behind the scenes it takes to build a brand efficiently and effectively. And Matt has been able to expedite that for me. And as some of you've seen probably recently, my brand has blown up on social media, and it's because of him. He knows all the ins and outs. He knows how to optimize Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And so he is behind the scenes on all this stuff. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be on my brand. So Matt, man, take it away, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself really quick, and how you have helped hundreds and hundreds of students like myself, right? Because I'm a student of yours and you're a student of mine, because he's newer into real estate and I'm newer into the digital marketing world. So we're bouncing both off each other. He has a superpower and I have a superpower. And what we've done here is we've now combined both of our superpowers, and we have integrated our superpowers to make one big superpower. And what that is real estate and digital marketing. So Matt, tell us about yourself, brother.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the introduction, Javier. I appreciate it. And yeah, the experiences I've had over the last 6 years with over 600 plus clients, helping them launch and scale their online businesses through digital marketing, through the digital era, comes a lot with experience and understanding everything that works across all industries. But I'm glad that you pointed out that, bringing two different superpowers together, because a lot of why we're, pushing you and you wanting to start this podcast and doing it in this format and this style is because we want to do something a little bit different. We want to not only help and get more information in front of the investors out there that want to get into real estate, but we also know and understand that there is a maximizer component of using digital marketing when you're in real estate. And so Javier, he has been able to build his real estate portfolio without a lot of digital presence. And so he's been able to be very successful. But now that we're going down a path and blowing up his brand and getting more eyeballs on what's going on, we're starting to see some traction of him getting more involved in different areas because of digital marketing. And so as this thing continues to grow, I want this platform, and part of my expertise coming to the table is helping Javier be able to be a trendsetter and letting people know, like, hey, yeah, this is a place to come to get the information you need to invest in real estate properly. But I want to be able to bring, here's how he's doing it. Here's why we're setting up this kind of school. Here's why we're setting up this kind of product. Here's why we're doing posts this way. Because everybody out there that's a real estate investor that's listening to this podcast today, you all have your own individual uniqueness to it. And if you have a voice and you are someone who's not shy to get on camera or on audio, then I would highly recommend you start some form of show or podcast, whichever you decide to do, because it will help you amplify your brand and amplify your business too. Javier is here because he has a portfolio, but it's also his business. And so if he wants to get more buyers that are interested, if he wants to get people bringing him deals, if he wants to be able to sell a product and do other things to get access to more of the audience that wants the information, we're going to treat it like a business. Digital marketing is a footprint everybody needs to have. And so, my background in digital marketing started back in 2015 when I started my agency. And when I did my agency, I scaled that from 0 to 40K in about 3 months, just doing social media management, which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We didn't have TikTok back then, or wasn't as powerful. Not everybody was over on TikTok. We have TikTok now, but
Yeah.
I know all the ins and outs of Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and how to, I don't want to say trick the algorithm, but how to optimize each of the platforms so you get the most out of your platforms. And what we're doing here with Javier is we're doing kind of, you've heard this across the board. So my first tip for everybody here is long form documentation. Anything you do to start out to really relieve the stress and the headache and the overwhelm when it comes to launching your brand or launching any digital content is think of long form content first. So if you've noticed on the YouTube channel, if you've noticed on some of his clips, they've all come from long form content. Me and Javier have had a couple of days where we've done some bulk video shoots and we've gotten hours worth of content on just a couple days. Now he has weeks, if not months worth of clips and videos that we can use to get his face in front of more people. Now, we're still going to be doing more bulk contents and more bulk shooting so we can continue to amplify and what's the word that they use? Compound effect, right? So the compounding effect is we'll have constant content and videos in the back burner for him to use and for us to use for the brand. But my tip for everybody here listening in early on is if you're getting into launching your brand and you're getting into wanting to really get your personal brand presence around your business, especially if it's in real estate, it's long form content. So find a way to record 30-minute to hour-long videos or audio. And then from there, you'll be able to disseminate it and syndicate it through all the other platforms, whether it's long form YouTube, 1 hour long videos, all the way down to 30-second clips for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. But we'll probably dive into a lot more of my expertise over the next several episodes. But yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of what I can do. And I hope some of the audience here is getting some value from it.
It's funny because, when you just said go from, long form to short form, one of the things that comes to my mind, and this is the real estate brain of me thinking, it's like a home appreciating, right? And you take all this long form, you made it into short form, right? You're creating a footprint on social media. I'm just kind of going to wrap up everything you just said there, like in one little package. It's like, this is the way I think about it in my real estate mind. It's like, think about that one piece of content and it goes on social media. That piece of content is always going to live there and it's going to appreciate over time with more views and more comments and more likes, right? And you could be more efficient because if somebody says, hey, how do I do this or how to do that? Hey, I got a video here, click here, right? So I'm thinking of it like a piece of real estate. It's appreciating over time on your profile. So when you say that, it's like, wow, it's just like, it's such a no-brainer because not only are you helping somebody else, you're building your brand and you're creating clones of yourself. It's like, it's a triple whammy. It's like a no-brainer. And I was like, man, if I wish I would have done this such a long time ago, right? Because it's not just like, hey, people bring deals to me and opportunities to me, but it's like, I'm able to help somebody else out who might be sitting in an airport or at lunch or at a 9 to 5 and needs my help. Or maybe it's one thing that I said or you said, and then just like that light bulb moment. Because the things that we're talking about today in this Be Bold podcast is we don't know what people might see value of, but it's going to be so many different pieces of this podcast where people might be like, wow, that is super valuable. I can't believe they said that. Or, oh, this is a light bulb moment. So when you said that to me just now, it's like, you know what? Making content is like a home appreciating. Like it's going to have a home to live in and it's going to continue to go up in value. And you're going to continue to have an audience and you're going to continue to get likes and shares, etc. And so it's such a important asset, and especially in the world we live in today, everything's on digital media now, right? And like you said, like TikTok, like it's the biggest, newest thing out there right now. Every time we turn around, there's a new platform you can expose yourself on. So it's really keeping up with the trends, and that's what Matt has done very, very well at with all his students that he's helped, and now he's doing it for me. And now I have all these folders of content, and it's like, holy smokes, this is a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But long form into short form with call to actions, right? So
there's definitely a system to the madness that we've got going on behind the scenes. But when you're thinking of content, and Javier put it very really frankly, which is your personal brand is your digital real estate. It
Mhm.
really is. And not everybody is taking advantage of the digital world and building that personal brand. And I like to coin it as kind of like it's taking your in-person reputation
Mhm.
and putting it online. And
Yep.
so the beauty of being able to use digital marketing, whether you're a real estate agent or if you're in a different market or a different niche, is video and audio is the best way to build trust with your audience.
Yep.
And who is going to do business with you? People who know, like, and trust you, right? And so part of doing, this really blitz of content, this blitz for his brand, is so more people that don't already interact with him, because he's a very social guy. He's already doing a lot of social stuff in person, and he's been
Yep.
able to do really well in the real estate space for the last 10 years. But it's he's at a limited capacity for how much time he has in the day,
Yep.
and the where he's going and who he can meet. But if we can record, document, and release to the world, release to YouTube and the algorithms, he is now broadening his audience and finding more people who like him. And again, not everybody's going to like Javier, not everybody's going to like me, but
Nope.
we're giving more opportunities for other pockets in the world and in the United States to say, hey, like, who's this Javier guy? I like the way he speaks.
Yep.
I love his story. I love his background. Oh, I love that he does short-term rentals. That's my focus, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, he's getting into multifamily. Okay, I want to get into multifamily, right? And so I'd love to give a huge shout out to Pace Morby and the team that they have going on over there, because a lot of what Javier is doing and a lot of what I'm infusing into Javier is really just following the blueprint of what some of the other greats have done already, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Pace Morby, just to name a few off the top of my head. And the reason why I say those two names is because Gary Vee is really one of my first internet mentors who got me into digital marketing back in 2015. But Pace Morby is who I've been following in the real estate space with his personal brand, seeing how he's blown up. That blueprint, we're just following it with Javier, and it's just document everything that he does, put it out to the world, and the people that know, like, and trust him will gravitate to him. And
Mhm.
now, while he's sleeping at night, and there's people on YouTube searching, how to
Yep.
how to how to turn an Airbnb into a pad split, right? Our most recent video, his video will come up. They'll get to spend an hour with him and a few other people that are on that show,
Mhm.
and get to know Javier for a full hour,
Yep.
and while he's sleeping. And that
Yep.
next, video that comes out, or that next opportunity for someone to interact with them or join our community or be a part, they're going to be more likely to say yes to that because they've gotten to know Javier through watching his channel, watching his clips. And so that's really going to be a big goal for us here. But
Yep.
you nailed it right on the head. Digital real estate.
Digital real estate. And guys, a real quick pro tip, like, you know, when me and Matt first got together, he's like, hey man, when do you want to do a jam session? I'm bringing my camera, I'm bringing my mics. I'm going to sit you in a seat and I just want you to jam out in front of this camera. Like I could have easily think it and not done anything or been like, hey man, can we record that video again? You can ask him straight up. I didn't even want to re-record anything because a lot of times your first video is going to be better than your second video, right? And then taking that imperfect action is so, so important. That's where most people mess up. And I'm sure he can touch on this a lot more than I can because he's been coaching people in the digital world in this whole time, all these hundreds of students. And one of the biggest things is people get caught up on perfection. You know how many comments I've gotten like, oh man, your words are coming off the screen. That doesn't look good. That's okay, man. Listen, my one video will outperform your video that you never put up, right? Period. Right? That is super important. My one video will outperform the video you never put up and that you thought about putting up or you thought about perfecting. So go out there, take action, make your imperfect videos, and you'll get better. Your production will get better. Your team will grow. Guys, things start from the bottom, right? We don't get to the top of the mountain all of a sudden out of nowhere. You got to take one step at a time. And that's with anything in life, good or bad, right? It's a process. You have to go through that process. And how are you going to go through that? Right. So I just remember when we did that first few jam sessions, I just went forward. I was just like, whatever,
Yeah.
man. No,
No,
so
yeah. I mean, just to give people an idea, I just went to count just to be safe, but we've already have about 15 videos, not only recorded, but a majority of them have already been released. So we've only been really diving in and jamming for, I'd say, what, 30 days,
yep.
roughly, maybe give or take a couple. But still, we've already gotten 15 videos in a short amount of time,
Yep.
And again, going to Javier's pro tip, which I completely agree. Good is better than perfect, right? That's
Yep.
something that I like to tell my clients all the time, right? Good is better than perfect. And
Yep.
so what I love working about Javier so far up to this point is that he's a man of action and imperfectness, which is like when I
Yep.
said, let's just jam, let's just record it and let's go. He was like,
Go.
let's go. I was like, so I love that because in this age of building anything, whether it's an in-person business, brick and mortar, or online, speed is your friend. And so when you get bogged down with something that's not perfect, I mean, even for this episode here, this is kind of like our inaugural kickoff episode. I mean, like we're just trying to be relaxed. We're just trying to get something out there to you guys. Like eventually we'll have better backgrounds and we'll have better, gear
Dude,
we're wearing or something, but
dude, I need a 3D background that's moving like yours. That's all
yeah,
I.
we'll get you hooked up. It's fairly simple to set up, and I'll show everybody how to do it. It's not that hard, but take that as kind of like if you're sitting on the fence about starting anything, whether you're starting to get into real estate or you're starting to do something, whatever it may be, whether you're going to do it digital or not,
Yeah.
that's a fundamental rule that you can live by, which is just take imperfect action.
Yep.
Done is better than perfect.
Yep.
Um, and I have so many of my previous clients, even myself, and the things that I've done is because I've just taken the foot forward, even though something wasn't complete, and then kind of maybe building the plane as I'm falling out. I heard
Yeah.
that a lot too, right?
Yep.
Build the plane as you fall, right?
Yep.
Versus, oh, let me go build this plane. Let me take 6 months. Let me take a year. Let me take 2 years to build all this stuff and then launch, and then falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. Let me one thing comes to mind really quick. Out of all the hundreds of students you work with that built multiple six-figure digital online products, what separate that student from making a six-figure online product, killing it, to the one who didn't? Was it the product? Was it them? Was it their looks? Was it they were consistent? I mean, what did you see that really made that one person shine versus the person who didn't?
Yeah, if I had to pick out one unique trait to each of the most successful students that I've ever had, each of them are successful on different timelines. Some are successful within the first couple weeks, some are successful in a couple months, in a year, right? But the ones that have always been successful have always been the ones that, again, they get something out there and it's not perfect.
Yep.
They are proactive, right? They just keep moving one step forward. They don't stop.
Yep.
They don't let one roadblock or barrier prevent them.
Mhm.
And it's not just proactive, it's resourceful.
Yep.
They're very resourceful. And what does resourceful mean? Resourceful not in terms of like, oh wow, I have access to tons of money, which is resources. Resourceful, which means is if they hit a roadblock setting up their funnel, instead of waiting for me to come online and answer their questions, they went to YouTube, they went to Google, they
Right.
went and found the answer on their own
Right.
and were able to overcome that hurdle because it's a technical hurdle. It's something that
Yeah.
the internet has the information to, right?
Right.
If it's more strategic, if it's more copy or understanding numbers, sometimes they'd have to wait for me for those kind of things. But the students that are always successful are the ones that are being proactive and are very resourceful, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the stuff that we have, and again, this is even for real estate, and this is even my own journey,
Mhm.
is I have access to all the real estate information I need, and it's more or less of how resourceful can I be to
Mhm.
take the next step, to get the first contract under deal, how to script trace numbers, right? What do I say? Well, call a couple people. And so, um, yeah, the number one thing I would say that would stand people apart building something online and being successful is those two characters, which is being proactive and being
Yep.
resourceful.
And think about this to touch on what you just said is somebody had a problem, which was one of your students that they thought they needed you, but the one who was really resourceful went and YouTubed it. Well, they YouTubed a video that somebody recorded that now helped them out.
Yep.
That was now also how that video was in someone's social media home that
Mm-hmm.
got another view, potentially another following, right?
Yep.
Like, like it's crazy. Like that's a video that somebody probably recorded months, days, weeks, years ago. And
Yeah.
so it just goes to show, going back to it just was so natural how that just came out. Like that's a video somebody did a while ago that helped somebody else. And that's why, like today with this podcast, that's the whole point of it. Like we want to be able to give value back to you guys and help you guys with
Yeah.
digital media, real estate, and collaborate. right? Let's
Yeah.
collaborate, right? If you're
Yeah,
watching
let's
this,
I want to change the focus a little bit on you, Javier, right? I mean, this is your show. I'm just a co-host here, and I do appreciate you diving in a bit on digital marketing, but let talk a little bit about your, initial entry into like real estate. Like, where did it all begin for you? Like, what was day one of like, wow, real estate, this is the thing I'm going to do for remainder of my life, or at least for the
yeah,
foreseeable future.
yeah. So I'm gonna touch on my childhood really quick, just do a quick little summary. And born and raised in Miami. As a little boy, I grew up as a single mom, and I always had this little entrepreneur spirit in myself, right? Like I would go out, and I remember like I lived behind a golf course, and I invested in a golf ball retriever, and I would go retrieve golf balls and resell them to a golf shop up the road who bought golf balls, and they would buy them for 15 cents a ball from me, excuse me. And at the time, that was a lot of money, you know? And I did that for a long time. I would get buckets of golf balls and resell them. And I was just a little kid that had that mindset. I wasn't the guy who wanted to sit inside and watch TV all day, or play on a computer, or, do, coloring crayons, right? And on coloring books. I was literally wanted to make money as a little kid. So I did that. I got the taste of money, but I would to make money, and I wouldn't spend it. I wouldn't say, "Hey mom, can you take me to the toy shop? Hey, can you go take me to buy candy?" I would take it, I would save it. I would take it and save it. I would hoard money. And then a few years later, I got it starting getting into car detailing, right? Business. And then after that, I got into lawn mowing, right? And so I had all these little businesses, not at the same time, but I had, you did one, got tired of that, did another business, but I was working for myself. I was making my own money. I wasn't having to go, work for someone, right? I was a young kid when I did this. And then I got into, my lawn business, and then I would get a bunch of different lawns, and I would sub out like raking job here. I'd hire this guy to do a raking job. Right. And so I kind of got to really understand money and how it worked, and the power of business, right. And being an entrepreneur. And I didn't know, no one really taught it to me. And so I went from Miami to Ocala, Florida. It was a little horse town. And I hated it there. I hated it there. It was a little town, and I started working. I never forget. My first job there was working at Winn-Dixie. I was making like $6.50, $7 an hour. Worked there for like 2 years. Dropped out of high school at the time. I was like, nah, I can't do this. I knew school wasn't for me. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had it in my blood. And then I started going working other jobs, 40-hour weeks here, 50-hour weeks there, making $12 an hour, making $15 an hour, $12 an hour, just kept repeating this whole cycle. And then I lived in Ocala for like 8 to 9 years. And I was like, man, I'm tired of this place. I need to change. I want to be able to, get better opportunities. So Orlando was the next closest, biggest city to me. So I went from Miami to Ocala, down back to Orlando. And when I moved to Orlando, I started renting a bedroom for $400 a month. Right. I went on, I think it was Facebook or Craigslist. I kept trying to find room rentals. And so when I did that, I rented a room for $400 a month. I was like, let me get the taste of what Orlando's about. Let me just rent a room here. I'll get a basic job. Started working for $12 an hour again. So I had this vicious cycle. Like I had the work ethic in me, right? And I had the business mentality in me, but I just kept following this vicious cycle of just like working another 9 to 5, working another 9 to 5. And then my roommate's friend, who is now a really good friend of mine, ex-business partner, we're still really good buds to today. He's like, man, he met me one day. He's like, bro, you need to get into real estate. I'm like, what do you mean get into real estate? I didn't know anything about real estate. He's like, you need to get into real estate, bro. He's like, your personality, he's like, your charisma. He started giving me all these reasons why I should get in real estate. I'm like, well, you want me to become a realtor? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, he showed me this $5,000 check. And at the time, that was a lot of money to me. He's like, yeah, man, look at this $5,000 check. And we're sitting in his car, a little Honda. He's like, look at this $5,000 check. I was like, whoa, he's like, yeah, I made that on one sale, one home. I'm like, dude, I'm sold. And I got sold on the vision of real estate. So I signed up, got my real estate license, or got signed up for the real estate course. Did that in about a month, got my real estate license, quit my full-time job. I had about $16,000 in savings, and I became a realtor. And then I started investing in these leads, right? Started working leads, working buyers leads. And I started making some money in real estate, but I was on the sales side. And then what I noticed was it was very transactional. You're only as good as your next sale. right? You're only as good as your next sale. Excuse me. And so I was like, how do I own what I'm selling? And then the first year or second year, excuse me, after I can show the bank, I was a 1099 and I had steady income and I could show the bank 2 years worth of income because I went to get qualified for a bank loan. I got my first duplex. And then from there, I had the taste of owning a piece of real estate. And once I had a taste of owning a piece of real estate, I was like, wow, I can leverage somebody else to live in the other unit to pay my mortgage and rent a bedroom out the side that I was living on to also help pay my mortgage and live for free.
Yeah,
And I was like,
you kind of house hacked it too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I house hacked the side I was living on, and then I rented the other side on Airbnb.
Yeah, so like for those of you out there that don't understand house hacking, right? Again, I'm still a newbie to real estate, but I know a lot of it out there. But I understand house hacking to a degree. A lot of it from my military background because you had to room up with other people in the military. Like we would go out to when I was in San Diego, we would rent an apartment that had like 3 bedrooms, but we have like 15 people living there because we'd like get one person on the lease and then 3 people, get their rooms and we'd split them all out. But house hacking is being able to get into a property. And even though, Javier, he didn't need all the rooms in that duplex, right? So he's like, hey, well, why don't I just bring in another roommate on my side to make some more income on top of the other side that has maybe another family in it, right? So for those of you out there house hacking, and I'll let Javier, jump in here and explain a little bit more on that.
Yeah, like, I got the taste of real estate and I was like, wow, this is like amazing. Like you can take a property and get somebody else to live on the other side and pay your bills. I lived there for, a little while. And then I did the same process again, rinse and repeat. I kept buying, a property that I would house hack every time.
Do you say real quick, because you said something a few minutes before you got into that part. I really wanted the audience to hear this. When you decided to finally kind of like go all in on being a realtor, you mentioned that you had about 16,000 in savings already.
Yep.
Do you feel like that was something that gave you the confidence to be able to go all in?
I had a little cushion there, right?
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't a lot of money, but I was like, I have a little cushion. I can invest. I can have a little, like I had no bills, like $400 a month, $100 a week, to live in a bedroom and to have everything paid for. Like I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car bill. I own my truck free and clear. I didn't have no bills, no obligations really. So I was like, you know what? I bet it on myself. And the best bet you can make in your life is on yourself.
Yeah.
So I had that $16,000 cushion. I was like, you know what? I quit my job. I got my real estate license. Took about a month. I failed the practice test. I passed the state exam in the first time. And most people actually fail the state exam multiple times. So it was actually opposite for me. I failed the classroom test and then I took that twice. And then I did the state exam, passed that flying colors the first time. But I had that cushion and I invested into lead flow and lead generation and started working buyers. And that's how I started my business. I started working buyers.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to highlight that because I know for those people coming across our podcast for the first time, maybe they're working that 9 to 5 or they're in the corporate structure or they have a regular job income and they want to dabble and do real estate. And and again, I've seen this on my side where people are launching their online businesses where they'll quit their day job that's bringing in steady income before they actually start getting sales in their business, and they don't create that cushion, right? So for all of you out there that are looking to get into real estate, making that your next extra side of income to grow over time, be mindful, like don't quit anything, get that cushion, that's a comfortable cushion, and then, then dabble in that property.
It really depends on your situation. Like I was single, I had no financial obligations.
Yeah.
I was able to take a high risk, right? But somebody like you, you have a family, you have a wife, you have people other mouths to rely on you. It's probably best for you not to take the high risk. You know, I did something that was high risk and it worked out. But for most people, that wouldn't work out, right? You have too many financial obligations. If you have a mortgage you're paying for and a house and cars and kids, mouths you have to feed, like take your time, work on that side hustle, little by little, right? You trust me. A lot of people, this is where they make the mistake. They're like, oh, well, I work a 9 to 5 and how am I supposed to work a side hustle? Well, let me ask you, how much time do you play on Facebook? How much time are you doing other things that are just a waste of time, right? Take that little bit of time that you're doing all this waste of time watching movies. Some people watch so many movies every single week, hours and hours and hours, when can they take that same time and apply it to something that's going to help them grow and put them in a financially better position? But they don't want to put the action in. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? And so you're like, oh, I'm in this 9 to 5, and you're in this rat race, and then you're not taking any action steps to, get out of that 9 to 5. So if you're going to get in it, it's going to be a little bit harder at first because you're going to have to do two things simultaneously. But guys, there's nothing easy about being a business owner. There's nothing easy about entrepreneurship or solopreneurship. It's, you have to take actual steps. Like, there's no cheat code to this. It's, you start at the bottom of the mountain, guys, and you do one step at a time. Just like I was like yesterday when I was hiking. Like, it's one step at a time all the way up. No one gets to the top. There's just no easy button. But if you're like me and you're young and you have yourself you can bet on, and you have no financial obligations, go for it, right? Or maybe ease into it. But if you have a family, continue to work your 9 to 5 until you can supplement majority of your income, or at least 60% of your income, through your side hustle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would say, even for those of you just coming across this, we'll do a shameless plug here, right? Javier has the Investor Insider newsletter that we send out every week with a lot of different things around real estate. We'll throw in some digital marketing stuff as well, but we have a lot of different things that are going to be coming out that's going to be helping the new investor getting into the game and picking the right strategy. And so if you're not an investor, an investor insider already, make sure you check the links in the description down below. We'll have a link to almost everything that we're not only using in the business and on the business, but also if you want to join that newsletter, it's absolutely free. It's something we send out every week to our list to keep them up to date on market trends, analysis, projects that Javier is working on specifically, and also any of our courses for the different markets, right? So we have a short-term rental Airbnb course that we're revamping and getting out there to the market again. He created this a couple years ago for Airbnb. It's been widely popular. We've got a new pad split mini course that's going to be coming out very soon. So if you don't know what pad split is, we'll link that video down below, where Javier and the senior vice executive, Ray Nunez, they do an entire walkthrough of one of Javier's property. Got a whole video of that down below as well. So again, we're talking here. We're going to try to keep this, very, very relaxed and flexible conversation. But for those of you that are looking to dive into it and looking to get more information, make sure you become an Investor Insider newsletter subscriber and go check out all of our videos talking about all the recent trends that Javier is actually doing. Like, Javier actually has properties. He's actually getting into multifamily. He's turning his first pad split first property into a pad split. And so with that also being said, Javier, I want to get to know a little bit more about that in terms of like where we're currently at in the state of, because we shot the pre-walkthrough video. We have the post-walkthrough video that should be releasing very soon. But where are we at as of today, since you've converted it to a pad split?
So I was actually sitting in the airport yesterday evening, and I got my first member, what they call members, my first booking on the platform. So when you sign up on the consumer side for looking for a place to live, they call that individual a member. And what they are is the person who booked the property. They just call them a member because you're a member of the LLC of Pad Split. So I just got my first member who is moving in tomorrow.
Which room did they pick?
They picked the one with all the windows, the one that's in the front of the house. Yes.
Yeah. Is that number 2? Is that number 2?
Number 3. No, room number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's funny? I kind of want to send them a little survey and ask them why they picked their room. Just curious. But that room went for $263 a week with a $97 move-in fee, right? And that $97 move-in fee, so you guys understand, is I can elect to have it at 0, or I can have it at 97, or I can have it at 1,000, whatever. It's my choice. Really what that does is that offsets any, when they move out, cleaning cost, right? So I have to hire a cleaner to go in there and clean the room. So it's at $263 a week. They'll pay on a week-to-week basis. There isn't any long-term commitment. They can, rent for 1 week up to 2, 3, 4, 5 years for infinity, as long as this is a pad split, right? And it's great because now I have that one member on one portion of the house, And then I have another 2 rooms on the other portion. So it's a four bedroom, 1 bath on one side, guys. It's a multi-family. And then the other side is a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And so the reason why I like pad split as an investor, and a lot of you guys are probably going to hear the word pad split. And I know it's really new to the market and people don't understand what pad split is, but I'm going to give it a really quick understanding what pad split. Pad split is a housing platform, a co-living housing platform that is solving the affordable housing solution for single individuals, not families. There's 2 different types of affordable housing. You have family affordable housing, and then you have individual affordable housing. So what they have done is they've created a platform similar to Airbnb, but it's not Airbnb. It's a co-living situation, but they have their own platform to where they have members. When you're a consumer, you remember, you become a member, you sign up, you become a member. And what you can do now on their platform is they have all these major hubs in different parts of the country: New York, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, et cetera. These are their core markets that they have started in. And so what they've done now is you're able to, as a member, book a room on a weekly basis or bi-weekly, however you want to pay. It's either weekly or bi-weekly, however you decide to pay. And you can stay there with no long-term commitments for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 years, 3 years, however long it's a pad split. And the cool thing about it is they have broken down the rooms in a single family home, typically, where every single room has a weekly rate. And in that weekly rate, there's one move-in fee. Sometimes there is, and sometimes there's not, depending on the host, if they want to charge one or not. I charge a $97 move-in fee on my property that helps offset some of their operating costs. And so that member has now affordable housing, and they can now live in a property, and it can become a stepping stone for them until they get to the next destination in their life. And how that's really awesome, because you can't find anywhere. For instance, this guy's going to pay just over $1,000 a month, and he's going to have utilities included, Wi-Fi included, furniture included. He brings his toothbrush and his clothes, and that's it. And a lot of these people are working 2 jobs, and they are having trouble making ends meet. And so if you look, like the average studio or 1-bedroom apartment is $1,200-$1,500 in my market, right? And so how do you afford that when you have to pay utilities, you have to furnish the place, you have to pay first, last, and security deposit? You don't have to do any of that on pad split. It's very simplistic. You become a member, you sign up, and you book a room, and you can stay in that for the duration of however long you want. And there's no, long-term obligations. If you don't like the place you're living, you leave, right? You move somewhere else. And so they have solved that affordable housing issue for these young individuals. I would say, anybody booking this is between 27. The guy who booked with me, he's 38 years old. He works at the cool thing about it is as well, guys, pad split does all the background check, the credit check, the employment verification. And he works, and I get to see the whole scope of him before he even moves in. And I can also elect to where they can't instantly book the property. In this case, I do have them where they can instantly book, but it tells me his occupation, his age, is he introvert, extrovert. That gives me a profile picture. Has he had any issues at other properties or stuff like that? So I get this like whole scope on him. I get his phone number, everything. I can send him messages. So the way they've built out the platform, I've been on a lot of platforms, right? I've been on a lot of different type of housing platforms. I've been on Roomster. I've been on obviously Airbnb, VRBO. I've been on Furnish Finders. I've been a member of a lot of platforms for housing. And I can tell you right now, the engineering in their platform, they have put money into it. Whoever's operating that engineering and the behind that is doing a fantastic job. And so I like it on the host side, which is me. I'm hosting the member. I like it on my side because it's very easy to use their platform, and it gives me a higher ROI as an investor. And the way I get a higher ROI is because I'm able to break down it per bedroom and rent out per bedroom. And that also widens and mitigates my risk. So when you have one tenant on one side and you rented that whole house to one tenant, your risk is way higher, way, way higher. Now, versus now, if I pad split it, not only can I charge more, my risk is way lower, because if one person stops paying, I still have 3 other people paying on that one side.
Yeah, I like to kind of point out a little bit too for those that are investors that are in the game and they already have some properties and considering to move over to pad split, for their property for a number of reasons. I'd also like to think that because you've been in the space, you've house hacked before, and you've actually done this on your own, where you've vetted
Yes.
someone to sleep in a room, and you had to do all the background checks.
Yep. Hmm.
This is almost kind of a way to streamline that and
Yep.
paying, pad split, because pad splits, they're getting their cut, right? Like
Yep.
most
Yep.
platform services do, whether you're Airbnb, VRBO, or now pad split. It's almost like, hey, I have the property now. I want to use pad split. They're going to charge me a set fee every month,
Yep.
and they're going to do all the marketing. They're going to do the background checks. They're going to, have all the security measures in place, the insurances in place, everything needed. And
Hmm.
so they're really coming into a marketplace and really helping the investor that's already doing it. Maybe you're an investor out there already and you already kind of, singling each room out and renting it and finding tenants on Facebook and Craigslist.
Yeah.
Well, PadSplit is the platform that's coming on and it just
Exactly.
streamlines it. And I think as the investor, right, looking into it for you, it's like, wow, it took you less than 3 weeks to get this place ready and
Yeah.
you've already got your first tenant
Yeah.
moving
Yeah.
in.
About a month in the process,
Dude, that's awesome.
And for me, there was more things that that were involved, and I realized, because remember, I maximized the space, of each side, and
Yeah.
took away furniture out because guys, this property in particular was actually previously Airbnb, and so I made that conversion, and I was able to do that conversion in about about 3.5 weeks, and get my first member in the place within a month. I was moving pretty fast.
Yeah, and
So
that particular property is gonna, after all said and done, right? You'll probably net what, 2,000?
I should be anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 a month. On the high side, about almost 2,000. On the low side, 1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's
Um,
wild to be
so
able to net on a property
yes,
2,000.
this is my guinea pig. So I'll be able to give better numbers. But I gotta say, I like to see that I already have one member at 263 a week. Plus, he paid me a $97 moving fee. So I'm excited. I actually thought one of my cheaper bedrooms. So actually, I have two bedroom 1 and 2, which are the bigger rooms with the refrigerators. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you know what I'm talking about because I've walked you through the property.
Yeah.
Um, I had those at 279. So actually today I dropped them to 274. Just wanted to play with pricing a little bit, kind of get a feel for the market. At
Yeah.
274, I kept my moving fee at $97. And so this is the beauty about this, guys. Pad Split is my tenant, right? I'm the landlord. PadSplit's my tenant, but I get to manage my pricing. They manage everything else as far as background check, credit check, employment verification. They manage all that stuff. They have the platform, everything that there is done, but I get to control the pricing, which is really cool. And so right
Yeah.
now, I'm just kind of tweaking the pricing, because I obviously want to get it, I want to be patient, but at the same time, I don't want the other rooms to sit there vacant because I rather make slow bucks than no bucks, right? And so I just tweaked the pricing just a couple bucks because that's how PadSplit works. Like if you have a reach-in closet, that gives you a couple more dollars. If you have a fridge in the room, that gives you a couple more dollars. So that's the way that it works, And not only that, the property, as you know, it's in a prime time location.
Yeah.
So I'm next to bus stops, I'm next to grocery stores, I'm next to lots of employment, hospitals, big retail shops, stuff like that. So obviously you don't want to do this in a desert, guys. If you're listening, you don't want to do this in a desert. This is a business model to where you want to be in a major metro area, because right now that's where PadSplit is dumping all their marketing dollars, is in major metro areas. Now you can be without, I would say, in the city center of a major metro area, no more than 15 to 20 minutes, but you also want to make sure you have bus routes included, because they
Yeah.
say Ray Nunes says 40% of PadSplit members have no vehicle. So you need to make sure that it's accessible for bikes, electric scooters, and bus stops, because these people
Yeah.
are going to use an alternative transportation other than a vehicle, right? Because they don't have a vehicle. Because remember,
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited. Not only just from an investor standpoint of how this new product is really going to be very saturated,
yeah,
because it's going to solve a and it's also going to solve a problem that we see with homelessness, not just in Orlando, but just across the nation, a lot of these bigger cities. Because you're absolutely right. if someone wants to move into a 1-bedroom studio that may be affordable, great, but it's probably all the way across town, too far
Right.
away from them to be able to commute to work,
Yep.
right? And the headache for them. So what do? They have to try to find a way to house hack and get a room in some stranger's home that they don't really know. And because studio apartments aren't like very easy to get either, right? I'm sure all of those have been taken up.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great product that's coming
Well,
out.
it's not even that. Like, most landlords want, you to have perfect credit. Most
Mhm.
landlords want you to have first month's, last month's, and security
Yeah.
deposit. And they want you to sign a 1-year lease commitment. And so
Yeah.
that's, again, going back to what I said, you don't have no obligation to the property. You rent it for a week, you hate your roommates, you move out, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to another pad split, right? And so that's the beauty of there. And then also, you're not having to put first, last, and security in every
Yeah.
single time. And some hosts have $0 moving fees. And that's something else I can play with. I have 97, and that might be a little bit unattractive to some
Is
consumers.
that set for each room or is that set for the whole property?
No, it's set for each room. It's
Okay.
97, and I can control that. I can put room 1 to be 97, room 3 to be 49, right? It doesn't
Beautiful.
matter. I can put that whatever. I just have it at 97 just because that offsets that cleaning
Hmm.
fee for me.
Yeah.
And that can help go toward other operating expenses like cleaning the common areas once a month, right? I'm going to clean the common areas for the guests for the members once a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could set it with the pricing, you have 120% control. And that's the beauty about it. Like, I can charge $3,000 for the bedroom, or I can charge $10. It's up to me, you know.
Dude, yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is gonna pan out.
I'm your
And
guinea pig.
yeah, I know. And for everybody listening in, right? We have a pad split mini course that we'll be releasing. So just keep an eye out for that. Turn on the
Yeah.
bell notification, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're staying in tune to what we're doing, what Javier's doing in the real estate space. He's got a lot of big projects going into 2024, but pad split is going to be probably one of our his premier products that he's going to be using a lot of.
Yep.
And as a real estate newbie myself, I'm just not only here to help him grow his brand, but I'm learning and seeing how to do the best and optimizing for the property itself. But yeah, make sure you check the links in the description down below. We'll have all that good information for you there.
Yeah. And as a real estate investor, one of the reasons why I picked pad split as an exit strategy, I'm adding it to my tool belt. Obviously, I have multiple different buckets. When you come across 99.9% of deals, they don't cash flow. There's no money in them. And so at that point, you have to ask yourself, are you just taking the property for a depreciation, purpose, right? Obviously, there's other leverage points on owning real estate, but it's just like, if it doesn't cash flow, then you're only getting depreciation. You're going to get leverage, and you're going to get future appreciation, and then a couple other benefits as well, which is still great. That's awesome. And if you're in that position, you need that tax incentive to buy it, then go ahead and do that. But I remember me looking at lots of deals on the creative side and buying a property subject to where you take over the underlying mortgage on a home on, let's say, a 123 street, or getting a seller finance deal and you're now negotiating your own terms. All those properties that have 2.9 interest rates or 3.5, you'd be surprised. It's free money, but they still don't cash flow. They don't just cash flow. So then at that point, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, well, can I, do a wraparound mortgage, or do I assign this deal, or, what's my exit on it, And so this is a great strategy where you can do one, help the affordable housing, community that's out there, and help solve that. And two, you get the cash flow on it, keep that piece of real estate instead of signing it. Because one thing you guys are going to hear me talk about in a lot of my videos is it's about keeping real estate forever and never selling it. That's my business model. That's why I like to live off of, because I have multiple properties now that I have now done multiple cycles of cash out refinances, right? I'm young and I'm okay with taking high leverage and high risk. You might hear some other people, other influencers might say, oh, well, if you cash out refinance, it's high risk. It all depends on where you're at in the journey. And in my journey, I'm okay with doing a cash out refinance. I'm ready to do another set of them. If the bank rates were favorable, I would do another set of refinances. They're money farms. And so one of my big one of my models is keeping that piece of real estate and getting the tax appreciation, getting the future appreciation, getting the appreciation, getting the leverage on it. You can cross collateralize. You get so many benefits when you purchase a piece of real estate. And on top of it, if you can cash flow, that's even better. And so that's why I like pad split because it solves that affordable housing. I can relate because remember, guys, previously on this podcast, I said I used to rent a bedroom. So I know what it is to be on the flip side of the consumer of needing to rent a bedroom, right? And needing a place to go and needing a stepping stone for affordable housing. Because at one point I didn't have affordable housing. It wasn't easy. I had to go on Craigslist or Facebook and maybe get scammed or worry about getting scammed. And so I'm able to do all that and cash flow and not skip over all these properties I look at. And I'm like, wow, that's a great property, but it doesn't cash flow. Oh, let me skip it over.
Yeah.
So you're not missing opportunities. You're able to get that dart on the board versus it just fall, right? And it just fall, and it just fall, and it just fall. And that's what it's about. It's about having the knowledge in real estate, right? It's about knowing different exit strategies. That way, when you come across an asset, you can say, okay, it fits in this bucket the best, right? Or this is a good flip property. Oh, this is a good wraparound mortgage property. Oh, this is a good buy and hold. Oh, this is a good pad split. Oh, I can assign this one, right? So now when you have all these tools on your tool belt, you can do your job way more effectively. And if you can do your job way more effectively and you're more efficient, then come on, that's what everybody wants in life, right? How can you be more efficient and effective, right? And that's why I've added pad split to my portfolio because to my exits is because I saw it and I looked at it and now I have the product. I've been a consumer of the product and I'm in the product and now I'm a host of the product. It's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. And I love really helping other people out. And so guess what? Somebody's moving in tomorrow. I guarantee he's in a point in his life where he's like, man, I need a stepping stone. And this has been great. So, and I believe this is his first pad split property because I can see on there if other hosts have rated him and he didn't have any ratings. So, and that's the thing, guys. One thing to touch on, not only are these people by pad split, not me, are they vetted? They have their credit check, background check, employment verification, all that stuff is vetted for me. So I know somebody who is reputable coming to my property, but
they have a rating system like Uber.
There's a rating system, exactly. So I can take away, they have a 3-key rating system and I can, not physical keys, that's what they call it. It's a 3-key tier rating system where every time he loses a key, if he loses all 3 of his key, he gets kicked off the platform. So if he comes in and he is trouble, at some point he brings a guest over, which you can't bring guests over. This is meant for you to sleep, eat, and go to work. Sleep, eat, and go to work. Sleep, eat, and go to work. There's no, hey, it's Thanksgiving, I'm gonna have my mom and my brother over. It's no, hey, I'm gonna have my girlfriend over. It's none of that. It's meant for you to have a stepping stone to get from point A to point B. And as you're getting there, you're able to save money because this is affordable housing solution. So that 3-key system, I'm able to take away a key and report them to PadSplit if there's ever an issue. Right. And so they know that they don't want to lose affordable housing for themselves because they'll get kicked off the platform. So to them, it's like, wow, now they have skin in the game. Right. And I actually want to touch on it. That's why I didn't do a free move-in fee, because I feel like if I get somebody to pay me $97 to move in, they're going to be more long-term committed and not want to lose $100 to move in. Because I see a lot of pad split hosts, they're like $0 move-in fee, $0, which it looks pretty, but I know that my product is unique. My product is a good product. I'm a good host. They're having a good location. So there's a lot of added benefits there for, that they get, for this property. And I feel like if somebody pays me $97, I'm not going to want to move out next week unless they want to lose $97.
Yeah. And this one here for this this guinea pig property you have as well, right? I'm not sure if we'll disclose the location, but it's in a prime location. So we're looking for, high traffic, high, demand.
Yeah.
And so, hey, part of the demand is being able to, charge that extra fee.
So one of the things I talk about in the pad split course that I created for you guys. So remember, I've already gone through all the troubleshooting, guys. If you want to skip the line, just go ahead and skip the line and look into the pad split course that I've created for you guys. But I've gone through all that trial and error, and we're gonna have tons of cheat sheets for you guys in there. So, make sure you take advantage.
Yeah. And here's what we're going to do right here on the fly. I haven't approved this with Javier. Normally this is something we do offline, but since it's being our first true podcast show and we haven't released the mini course yet, if you've made it all the way through this hour and some change video, one, thank you for your attention. It means the world to us. We appreciate you. But two, go to our Instagram, go to the Real Javier Paredes or the Real Matthew Lopez, send one of us a DM and put podcast episode 1 50% off. If
Yeah.
you DM us podcast episode 1, 50% off, any one of us, we'll make sure we get you the mini course for half off, regardless of
Yep.
whatever the price is at the time. Just for thanking you guys for watching our first episode and getting to the final end here.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to skip the line and, take out all the guesswork, that, looking to get yourself the course. So,
oh yeah, the pad split course is going to be one of the only courses out there right now. So we're so early to market. No one really knows.
Yeah.
People know, the investors know, but they're not telling people. They're not creating courses yet. No one's come out with the course yet to give it to the masses and to the people. We'll have ours out first.
And I remember I was going to say earlier, I had a brain fart. That's where I actually have a week, I think it's week 1 or week 2. I talk about how to, find, profitable markets. And I talk about the major metro markets and why I talk about them. You'll see why I talk about them, because a second ago you said, oh, we're looking for, a lot of growth, a lot of population growth, a lot of jobs, etc. That's why I say, one, think about this. If you go on pad split, where they're putting their money right now in marketing is major metro markets. Now, I have seen them open up smaller markets, and I'm not saying they're not pushing their dollars there, but I can guarantee that they're going to push major metro markets a lot harder, because if you think about it on their side, they make money when I book. And if they get bookings in, more, the probability of bookings in major metro markets is probably a lot higher than smaller markets where, job population and jobs are a lot, lower, and employment is probably a lot higher. So they're probably not going to spend as much money there. I don't know. That's my guess. That's the way my brain is trained to think. And that's probably what's going to happen. Now, I do see them opening up smaller markets. And I would say this again, if you're within 20 to 30 minutes of a major metro market, and you have some type of bus system or transit system, a train, something around where somebody can hop on and get from point A to point B pretty fast, then that should be fine. But I would say closest to the city center as possible, preferably 10, 15, maybe max 20 minutes. But if you find a good deal when it's within 25 minutes, 30 maybe max, I would say, then it could be potential to look at it, because I know that their marketing dollars. I remember asking this Ray, because I remember asking him, I did the example of Orlando versus Kissimmee. If I was to put a property on Kissimmee, would they still see properties out there? And are you guys going to still do advertising? And he said yes. So those markets will get eyeballs on them, and I'd hate somebody to pick up or miss a deal. And I think the biggest thing, as long as people have 40% of these people do not have cars. So as long as they have some type of form of transportation, they can go from point A to point B, then yeah, I would say, go for it.
Awesome. Well, Javier, I think, we've given tons of information today. I think there's a lot to sit on. A solid hour and some change full of gold nuggets. I want to maybe start something here. We'll see how this goes. And you guys, as the viewers, let us know in the comments down below. I'd like to end the call with maybe like an expert tip from the digital side and an expert tip for like the real estate side. I'll lead off to kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking of, like what we can do to provide more value to the community and to the show and to the audiences. If you stay to the end of the show, you'll get an expert insider tip. A lot of things that the experts aren't telling you, or maybe giving you something to work with. So I'll lead off first. And I'll start with a tool that I use every single day on my content journey is the Repost app. So if you don't know what the Repost app is, if you go into the Apple iStore or probably the Google Play Store, you look up Repost app, I think it's like $5 for the year or $15 for the year. It's a phenomenal app if you're really looking to repurpose and repost your information, your content. But here's why I use it. Here's the expert tip. Nobody out there is going to tell you why you should actually use it. Let's say you come across another creator and you love their description. Maybe something they've written in the description, you want to copy and paste a little bit of it. But on Instagram, you can't copy and paste, right? If you've ever tried to copy the description, you can't do it. So for those of you out there putting content out there and you come across someone's post and you feel like they had a fire description and you want to go in and change it a bit, the Repost app will allow you to stripe their post, copy their description. Now you have their description. Now, I don't recommend you copy and paste it word for word, because that's plagiarism. There's, Instagram isn't going to ban you for it, but just be ethical. Take that description, put your spin on it. If you want to take it one step further, go over to ChatGPT, plug in some of your information, use ChatGPT prompts to make it different. But that's my expert tip for the digital marketing side. If you're really finding somebody's content that's fire and they put like really good information in the description, but you can't grab it, use the repost app and pair it with ChatGPT to make it your own. And don't overthink having to write out descriptions anymore if you find somebody else's description. That's going to be my expert tip for the digital marketing side.
Yeah.
Javier, if you have anything for the real estate side.
I remember you showing me that
Yeah.
time. So no, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I would say, if you're just getting into real estate, a lot of people get hung up on, hey, how can I get my first deal? Right. And so I want to keep it super, super simple. And my expert tip is going to be, this business is 120% relationship based. If you want to have a higher probability of somebody sending you a deal that you potentially could be a buyer for, then you need to start building relationships. And so you don't have to have any deals to build relationships. You don't have to have any money to build relationships. Understand what you want to do in real estate. So if you want to buy and hold, start reaching out to 3 to 4 wholesalers a week. Nothing crazy, 3 to 4. If you want to get, a little bit more aggressive, 1 a day. 1 wholesaler company a day. Say, hey, I'm a buyer in this local market. Can you add me to buyer list? I guarantee you, no one will turn you down. No one was not going to say, oh, don't give me your name and number. Don't give me your buy box. No one's going to say that. Because what's going to happen is they're going to be like, yeah, I got another buyer on my buyer list. Let me add them to my buyer list. So take 2 to 3 wholesalers a week, different companies, or 1 a day if you want to get really aggressive, and tell them to add you to their buyers list and give them your buy box. In the pad split mini course, I talk about buy box and how important, how essential it is for your real estate investing and how not to go outside of it. So you're going to create this buy box, and a buy box, what that is, for you guys don't know who it is, it's parameters of the type of home that you're going to buy, right? Like certain year built, certain bed bath, certain location, certain square footage, et cetera. So build your relationships within wholesalers, right? And then I want you to also take it a step further and build your relationships within title companies and lenders. Don't have to go crazy. I'm not saying you need to call 100 title companies or you need to call 100 lenders, but build some solid relationships, build a foundation for your business. And that way you can start catapulting into deals. And so the reason why I mentioned the wholesaler thing first is because those wholesalers are going to send you deals for free. You could start analyzing those deals and start doing some practice underwriting, start understanding what ARV and what some of the terminology is, right? And once you start getting those in your emails and you can start looking at them like you look on Facebook. And if you remember earlier, I mentioned, if you want to have some type of success, you have to start taking action toward it. And you have to stop sitting on the sideline and just, trying to be perfect at it. So start taking some of those deals and do some practice underwriting. Look at the deals, flip through the photos, understand the area, right? Know your market. This is all the stuff I just mentioned costs $0. It costs you taking your time and energy that you have allocated toward playing on Facebook every day or Instagram or whatever social media site you're on, and taking that and putting it toward looking at real estate deals. And that way you can start seeing the lingo. You can start understanding what NOI is. You can start understanding what a return on ROI is. All these different type of terminology, you can really start understanding it. And once you start having that relationship built, you can get on their VIP buyers list and you can start executing and buying these deals. That's what's my pro tip is for you guys today, because if you could do this and you could start, doing this with a little bit of your time every single day, I'm not saying all day, but every single day, you'll see it has that compound effect that we talked about earlier in this podcast. It's all about the compound effect, right? Yeah. And so make sure you get in there, build relationships, because this is 120% relationship building business. And that's what it's about. When you have those relationships built, you'll see it's like a superpower. And people don't really understand that until they really get into it. And the reason why I mention that is because everybody's all caught up on the money. Oh, the money, the money, the money, the money. But when you have good relationships, right, the money, you don't need the money. because you can raise the money. You have your relationships that you can leverage, right? You start building the skill set you can leverage, right?
Yeah.
You can even, certain people even insert themselves in deals for their expertise. A lot of people don't know that. Like I can get somebody say, hey, Javier, you're a really good pad split operator. You know what? I'll let you insert yourself in my deal for an equity position. I want you to run the deal as the operator. I want to be 100% hands off, but you have an equity ownership in the property. Whatever, 25, 30%. I didn't bring any money to the table. I'm just bringing my expertise and my operating skills, right?
Yep. Getting the place ready for pad split.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. So like, or you could do consulting fee, anything. But the key is build relationships early on. And by the way, you're probably wondering, well, where do I find wholesalers? Well, when you go to Facebook, just like you're on all the time, that beautiful little social media site that you're on all the time, go to groups, and in there, type in your local market real estate meetup or anything real estate. Start putting these keywords in and see how much things you see pop up. Join all those groups and make a post and say, hey, my name's XYZ. I'm buying in this market. Here's my buy box. Here's my information, and start, DMing these people so you can get on there. And I can guarantee you your inbox will be full of properties that are going to be sent to you.
I'll even do them one better, right? If you want to find where to find your wholesaler groups, go right into the description down below. We're going to have a list of links to all the communities we're a part of.
Yep.
And there's lots of free communities out there that have hundreds of thousands of real estate investors, wholesalers, flippers, you name it. And so we'll make it even easier for you. Just check the links in the description down below for all the stuff we talked about today, including where to find your wholesale. It'll be easy. I'm going to keep it easy for everybody here on the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, how about this too? One other thing, if this is okay with you, Matt, let's how about we also give them a free gift since they attended this long? Since you guys have been sitting with us this long, we appreciate you guys. Let's give them the free shopping list we have for our pad split. We'll also include that, guys, below. This is a gift from both of us to you guys. And guess what? You might not need the pad split course. Just click the link below and you'll have the free shopping list. You can see everything I've purchased and make your purchases without you having to think of like, hey, do I have this? Hey, do I have that? Or where do I get this? Or what should I use here? Let's add that into there for them.
Yeah, we can add that. We can add the shopping list to the description below and make sure that anybody who watches the video gets it.
Yeah. Let's
put it in there
for you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know there's a lot of things we said. We hope you guys rewatch this. But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to have all types of guests that come in, CPAs, top real estate people, multifamily, storage units, single family homes. Nothing too big, nothing too small, guys. So don't worry. Yeah. Even if you're just getting real estate and this might be a little overwhelming for you, you probably never heard the terminology pad split before. That's okay. That term's new to a lot of people. And so we're going to have everything from people just getting started to somebody who is done this for years and years and way more longer than I have, and has way bigger portfolio than I do. So
and we're going to bring that digital marketing twist to it. So we're not only just going to bring the knowledge of Javier and the expertise, and as I grow my expertise in real estate and my experience, but also for those of you looking to use the digital marketing leg to amplify your real estate businesses, right? Instead of just staying locally or with your off the internet relationships, how can we expand and how can we get in front of more people so more people can find you and your deals? So we're going to bring that. That's going to be that twist that I don't really see a lot of the other creators that are doing real estate out there. Not to knock them, not to say they're not doing anything wrong, but I think this is a twist that I think that real estate investors really need to have on their tool belt as well. Not just the ability to find the deal and secure a deal and find a buyer, but also to how to digital market themselves and create funnels and systems using digital marketing.
Cool, man. Yep.
Cool. All right. Where can they subscribe? Where can they?
Yeah, guys. So just like, one more reminder, check down the description below for all the free goodies and giveaways that we're going to give you guys. If you guys want to follow me, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel at the Real Javier Paredes and IG at the Real Javier Paredes. And we will see you guys on the next one. So don't forget to be bold, and thank you for joining us here today.